Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How was your Mother's Day?
It was good. We went to the beach. We had a beach morning, which was really nice. We did a different beach than we usually do, and it turned out to be a wonderful decision because I think we're gonna have a new beach, basically.
Just ours.
Well, you know, I mean, there's public beaches all over St. Augustine, Jacksonville. I mean, all the way up the coast, and so we usually go to St. Augustine, but we found some closer to Jacksonville that were just like, okay, this is more our vibe. So
A little easier to get onto. Yeah, it was nice. It wasn't too hot or too cold, and then we did hibachi that night for dinner. And
I love hibachi.
I didn't wear the chef's hat, but
no, you didn't.
I feel like it was equivalent to what you would get at a restaurant. Pretty close.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
I agree. You made a lot of noodles.
Yes.
I requested a lot of noodles, and we literally still have some, and it's Wednesday.
It probably won't last
like
that much. It won't last that much longer, though, probably.
Probably not.
But yeah, hopefully all the moms out there had a great Mother's Day as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully that went well. And then when's Father's Day? It's in June.
It is the, let's see, 25th, 24th, 23rd, 20th, 21st?
I have no idea.
I may be a week early. Maybe it's like the 15th.
June 15th.
That's right. Let's do 15th, Jared.
Okay. Yes, hopefully all the moms had a great Mother's Day out there, and hopefully you called your mom out there.
Yeah.
Told her hello.
Call your mom.
Yeah,
Send
call
her
your
flowers.
mom.
Give her a card. Take her out to eat. Something like that.
At least call, at the very least.
You know what's funny? I have to bring this up because I saw just a little clip of this. Apparently, that Mother's Day is the least amount of crimes that are committed.
That makes sense.
Out of all the whole year.
Everyone's on their good behavior
Mother's
for their
Day
mom.
is the least amount.
I was going to rob this bank, but it's Mother's Day. Well, I'll wait.
Like my mom would be so mad if I did this on Mother's Day.
I'll get arrested next. It won't be as bad if it's not on Mother's Day.
I'll put it off until tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll do it on Father's Day.
Oh, jeez. Well.
I think it's still true that restaurants make the most money on Mother's Day.
I think that's true. Yep.
Because everybody takes their mom out to eat.
That and Valentine's Day, I think, are up there. But yeah.
You mean that corporate holiday where they try and force you into buying things at extra prices?
Isn't Mother's Day a corporate holiday too, Jared Lee?
I mean, but at least it's like you're celebrating your mom. Like I'm not against
Valentine's
that.
Day, you're celebrating the ones you love.
You should do that all the time.
You should celebrate your mother all the time.
But what gets me all the time, well,
all the time,
maybe. But what gets me about all these is like you go to these restaurants. Let's say normally it's like, I don't know, your bill per person might be like $30. You go to these special things and it's like these prefix menus, and then everything's at least like $15 cheaper than usual. And just to capitalize. I get why they do it, but I'm just like, oh,
you mean more expensive?
Yes.
You said cheaper.
Did I say cheaper?
You said cheaper.
I meant more expensive.
And you meant more expensive. And I wanted to correct you because that was wrong.
Well, thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome.
I say things and know what I'm saying sometimes.
Happy Mother's Day to me.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day to you. Well, we're not going to talk about Mother's Day and dining. We have some news to talk about, including we have some Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party dates. And while the parties aren't scary, the prices, they're getting kind of scary, if I'm being quite honest. And Josh D'Amaro directly addressed Epic Universe. So we're going to talk about what he said. And then we're going to talk about some reasons as if you're going to Disney or looking to go to Disney this summer, some things going on that you can take advantage
We're
of.
going to lay them all out.
It sounded like you said lamb them all out.
We're going to lay them all out.
All right. Well, that was Jamie's Missouri coming out of her.
You're welcome.
But yeah, that's what we're going to do today. But before we do that, I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're not watching us on YouTube and you would like to, you can find us over at CTM Podcast over there on YouTube. And of course, if you're listening on good old trusty audio podcast, you can find us on all the major platforms out there. Just ask you to please subscribe and leave us a review if you're able to on there. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us continue to grow the show. And speaking of continue to grow the show, you can check out Club 32, and that's our private group where if you want to interact a bit more with us, get some discounts, get some extra content, and have a private Facebook group, some meetups, and all sorts of things going on there, you can look at joining Club 32, and that's like our own Patreon that we do on our own end. And you can check that out by going to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options. And, if you do want to contribute, help keep the lights on, keep the internet running, that's a great way to go contribute there. And it's a fun group. And if you got questions, it's a good group to lean on about, people go to the parks all the time. So you can always ask some questions in there and kind of brainstorm ideas and things you might do on trips coming up and things like that. So we also have weekly live streams we do in there also. So we get to interact a bit more with everybody in there. And just, sometimes the live streams are on topic and sometimes they're just about random things that come up in the chat. Who knows what you're going to get there. But if you want to join that, you can go to ctmvip.com. Like I said, monthly or yearly options there. And if you do a yearly, you get a free t-shirt. So go check out Club 32. And if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. So, all right, let's get to the news. So the first one we have is we finally have dates, ticket pricing, and details about this year's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
And there are 38 dates of the party from August 15th through August 31st. And that's usually they started a little bit earlier, but like last year, I think it was the 12th was the earliest. So at least it's not the 11th this year.
At least they're not going closer to July.
Right. So in August and September, the party is basically held Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. There's also one Thursday then there on September 25th. In October, it's every Thursday, Friday, most Sundays, most Tuesdays, and Monday the 13th. So 38 days, that's a lot of days. Somebody in the Facebook group, the Capture the Magic Community Facebook group, he mentioned, he's like, that's 38 days. That is more than 10% of the entire year.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a crazy way to look at it. So over 10% of the year is Halloween parties.
Well, and I think I know as to why they're doing that, because we also got ticket prices for this. And so on the low end, it stays the same at $119 per person. And on the high end, as you get closer to Halloween, it is $229 per person. Although I suppose if you're an AP or a DVC member, you do get $10 off that. But that is a $30 jump on the high end from last year, which was a jump last year off of the high end. So, yeah, it's going to cost you a lot more to go closer to Halloween.
Yeah, basically, Halloween night is always the most expensive. Now, we don't have ticket pricing out yet. We're recording this on the 14th, so we will know by tomorrow, the 15th. So when this is out, you'll know. But yeah, it's pretty hefty. It'll be $229 for Halloween night. And that date usually sells out first. So I did do a little bit of research. I was looking into this. So in 2019, tickets for this party cost $79 to $135 per person, which means an almost $100 increase for the highest price tickets in 6 years.
Yeah, I was going to say in 2019, I remember we paid 70 something, and a family of four, you could go for under $400 and check it out. The price, I mean, if you're going that high end, I mean, with taxes and everything, you're probably paying for, if you got a family of four. And did they have kid pricing? Did they say? They
do have kid. It's usually like $10 cheaper, but yeah, this is for adults.
You're paying close to $1,000 to go to this party. There's been obviously people have some, obviously the Disney raising prices yet again, another example of that. But I really find it hard to blame Disney whenever last year they raised prices and it sold out, and see what happens this year. But as long as people are buying this from a business perspective, it is, I mean, as much as I don't like seeing the price increases, as most people don't, it's hard to argue from a business standpoint when they keep raising prices and it keeps selling.
I mean, right. Like, I don't blame them at all. I don't like it. We don't like it. You don't like it. But if they're going to still do it, they are. And that's a prerogative. And if they were a company and it was me, I'd probably do the same thing.
Well, I likened it if I'm selling, let's say I'm selling iPhones and I keep raising the price and keep selling, unless my whole purpose is to, keep it reasonably priced for principal matters, which a publicly traded company is not going to do that until the market tells them it's too high. At some point, you have to think there will be a point in which people aren't willing to pay that. Now, what that is, and I've said for years on this show that Disney is searching for that upper ceiling of what people are willing to pay. And we've seen them, the Star Cruiser, obviously that was too much. That didn't last very long. I remember the Tomorrowland little canopies they had in there. Remember that in 2019?
Yep.
That was like $400 per day. That lasted about a week, and they took those down.
Are you talking the tents? Are you talking
Remember
about
that?
the cabanas?
The cabanas. Yeah. They had that for they never mentioned it again. They offered it. I think it only lasted a couple of weeks. So, it's one of those things where I don't know what else to say other than if people are going to pay it and they're going to sell out, it's going to keep going up. Yeah. And it's all there is about it. Now, the thing about this party too is like we were talking about, I don't know if we'll review it this year because it's both good and bad. This party doesn't change. So it's consistent. If you've never been, like it's fun, but from year to year, like the only thing changing this year at all is Jack Skellington's going to have a new face for the meet and greet.
There's a couple other things.
And a couple of things maybe, but for the most part,
yeah,
it's pretty much the same party year after year.
Well, new this year is the Zombies 4 dance party, which Zombies is from like the Disney Channel. It's like Disney Channel original movie stuff. Mickey and Minnie are now meeting together in Town Square. They'll be in their Halloween outfits, but they'll be together. Usually they're not. Usually I think she's with Minnie. Or using, not Minnie, Daisy. Minnie and Daisy are together. But yeah, Jack Skellington's got a new face, which looks much better, I will say. The old Jack Skellington face did not look like the cartoon at all.
Yeah, it does look better.
Much
I mean,
better.
I'm not a Jack Skellington fan, but it does look better than the new one.
And they're going to do more with Storybook Circus and making it look, they call it a happy haunt for families. So very minor stuff this year. But what's returning is the Boo to You Parade, Hocus Pocus Spectacular Show, Not So Spooky Spectacular Fireworks Show, trick-or-treating, dance parties, ride overlays, event food and drinks, character meet and greets, party merchandise, photo ops, magic shots, and I'm sure like the cadaver dance and all that stuff. So all of those things that we just mentioned are pretty much the same. They don't change every year, except for the foods and drinks that are offered. Those do change every year. Character meet and greets might be a little bit different. The party merchandise is different, but everything else is the same.
So looking at the prices of this, just obviously it's going to be dependent on each person. But in your opinion, let's say you're looking to go around the $229 per person range. Do you think the party is worth that much money?
So here's how I look at it. So for me, as someone that's gone every year for the last couple of years, and I know what to expect, I've done it. For me, we probably won't do it this year. Like, I just don't see us doing
the last few years, the reviews have pretty much been the same.
Right.
I mean, it's both the good and bad about this party is it really doesn't change much.
Right. However, if you are someone that has never been and you are going around Halloween, like around the Halloween date, and you want to go to the party, I would probably say, okay, you got to do it once. You got to do it at least once to experience it. And thinking about the price of, let's say it's the $229 price. I mean, if you look at a park hopper for Magic Kingdom and somewhere, another park or whatever, it's going to run you around the same price.
Yeah, but with that, you
more.
get to park hop and more hours in the parks and stuff.
I understand. You still get 8 hours with this party ticket. You can get it as early as 4. So you still get 8 hours worth of park time with the ticket. Yes, it's more expensive, but you get stuff that you don't get on the regular park days. So I would say if you've never done it, or maybe you've only done it once and it's been a while or whatever, I would encourage you to I would do it. Sure. But if this is something you've already done a couple times and you've seen it, you've seen everything, then I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah,
but it's up to you.
I at some point I do wonder about like where this goes, because if this sells out this year, more than likely they raise ticket prices next year. So it's not far off that. I mean, I never would have thought in 2019 we would think that this party would be over $200. And then you talk about it's going to start encroaching on getting close to $300.
Yeah.
Like at some point with all this stuff, I do wonder like what is the breaking point where most people are just like, no. And we may find out pretty soon, because I think going off that Q2 earnings report, which was very good for them, and I said that at the time, that gives them all the reinforcement that what they're doing is working, and clearly on some level it is. And even they just look at the people who are complaining about the prices as a small minority, and people are still paying it. So until the market tells them, and I know people are looking at that probably thinking that's insane pricing, but until the market tells them it's too much, they're just going to keep feeling around and see how much more they can get out of it. So, and if this party doesn't sell out this year,
it will.
It probably will. That's the thing about it. And if you don't like it probably will. But if it happens to not sell out this year, they're not going to lower this price next year. They'll just add things to the party. I don't think they would lower that high-end price on that. Absolutely not.
Nope. You're never going to see it to where it's below 100 for the low end, or below the 229 for the high end. We're like they'll never do it.
And I think that goes. That's what gets me too. Is like, everything's gotten more expensive, but it's also the
Yeah.
price increases coupled with like nothing is really changing. I think it would be one thing if it went up to 230 and they added a bunch of stuff, and there's no reason to believe this is going to be the case, that they're going to sell less tickets, so that it's much more of a lower crowded party. But the last 5 years, the parties are just as busy as a normal park day. So it's not even like you're getting almost an after hours experience where there's not as many people in the park and you can, ride a lot of rides. Like you can ride more rides because people are doing other things, but it's just, yeah. I mean, I think to me, I could swallow it more if it was they added some extra things to this to justify it, but it's just simply the exact same experience, probably basically since 2019, and it's now almost $100. I mean, basically $100 more, which is wild.
Yeah.
But again, it's, if people pay it, they'll keep doing it. I don't know. I'm not surprised by it. So I guess that.
Yep. It is what it is. And we just have to accept it and either go or don't go.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like either you pay or you don't.
All
and
right.
if enough people don't pay it, then it does force them to do something different. Like go back to the drawing board, be more creative.
It is fun. I think it's fun.
It's fun.
I like to dress up in the costumes.
I just think it's fun. Like if you're talking about a family, because obviously a lot of it's like families with kids and dressing up and going trick-or-treating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
fun.
kids, though, I think they would have just as much fun just trick-or-treating with their friends as going to a party and all that stuff. It just depends, but it's like, is it worth, if you got a family of 4, like, is it worth $1,000? Just about, like, I personally don't think it's worth $1,000.
Now, here's a little caveat. I don't know if this is going to stay this way or not, but yes, was it yesterday or 2 days ago when they announced the party dates and everything? And they actually changed the verbiage of the Beak and the Barrel lounge that's going to be opening in Magic Kingdom. They changed some of the verbiage to say that you could start making reservations for this lounge during the party.
Yeah.
And you can start making reservations like June. And everybody was confused because like, wait a minute, you haven't even announced an opening date. So like, when is it opening? Like, what is it opening on the day that the party start? Like, we were all very confused. They took the verbiage down like almost like an hour later, like really quickly. So we don't know if this is going to be available during the party and they just haven't announced it officially yet. But if you do want to go to the party or thinking about it and like, oh, I'm on the fence, I don't know, but you really want to check out this lounge that is going to be open, I guess, before it is open regular park hours. Like, we don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's just kind of up in the air right now.
That's why I'm thinking
it's a caveat, I guess.
They may have taken it down because they were getting some flack for it at that time. At least online. I think they may do it because it may be, if they're worried about really, I mean, again, $30 price increase in 1 year is a lot. They may be a little worried that that's a bit much, so they're trying to add something into it, and that would draw people in to check out this brand new lounge if it was only available during a Halloween party.
I don't know. We'll have to see about that one. That one's we're not sure about that yet.
Yeah.
So.
All right, next story we have is dates and details for the beloved Fall Festival at Epcot. Food and Wine Festival have been announced.
So the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival dates are August 28th through November 22nd. That is 90 days. There will be 35 global marketplaces with kid-friendly and plant-based options like they had last year. And this is what returning this year. We have Emil's Fromage Montage, Remy's Hide and Squeak, Eat to the Beat concert series, Living with the Land food and wine displays, and more just haven't been announced yet. So further details about menus and merchandise will be released soon. So I believe this is the same weekend of Destination D23.
I think so, too.
Is that right? Okay.
Pretty sure.
That's going to be a very busy weekend. Usually the end of August, not so busy, but that is not the case this year.
Yeah. Well, I think some people, myself included, were hoping like some of the seminars might come back. Those haven't been back since 2019, and none of those. So
I'm not looking. They'll never bring him back. I doubt it.
I don't think they will. Like until I think the way in Disney is going to operate now, and we've seen it through ticket pricing, is you're going to see price increases without a lot of things being added to it until they get to a point where maybe they figure out where the ceiling on some of this stuff is or the attendance lags, and then add in more things on the value end. I think that's really where they're going with this. So, yeah, as much as I'd like to see those things come back because they're pretty cool to have some of those things, but don't believe that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah. So yeah, another. I like Food and Wine. I don't like it as much as the other ones, but it's still good. It's just so hot in August.
So I'm glad, I mean, at least it's not in the middle of the summer like they were doing for a period of time there.
In July.
Yeah, where it's just more in the fall. I do think Food and Wine's better as you get closer to the wintertime because it's not as hot. And some of the food items are warm. And it's like when it's 96 degrees, you don't really feel like having some warm soup necessarily. But
the cheddar cheese soup at Canada sounds really good in August.
I mean, I love the cheddar soup, but yeah, when you're walking around the World Showcase sweating and just, it's just a hot, steamy mess, you're just like, do you want piping hot soup?
No, thank you. No,
but in the wintertime, yeah, take some chili, take some hot soup.
Oh, yeah.
Take some lobster bisque. I do love some. I haven't had lobster bisque in a long time. That does sound good.
Let's get you some.
Although I could eat chili when it's warm.
Okay.
But not as much hot soups, maybe.
Great.
But, all right. Next story we have is Josh D'Amaro, who was speaking at the Moffett-Nathanson conference, which could also give us an indication we know he's in the running for CEO, but this is typically a place where the CEOs come talk. So Josh D'Amaro was talking on behalf of Disney, and he directly addressed Epic Universe and how it will influence Disney World attendance.
So I'm just going to read what he is quoted as saying, and we can kind of discuss. In talking about certain things, he would say, if you go back 5 or 10 years, this is him quoting it, and you think about what's happened at Disney World, we've always been on the offensive. You'll never find us in a defensive position. And he goes on to say, we're constantly investing for the long term, fortifying each one of our theme parks to make sure that our destination stays together as a whole. And that's worked incredibly well for us. If something is built new in Central Florida, like Epic Universe, and if it brings in additional tourists, I can almost guarantee you that the new tourist coming into the market is going to have to visit Magic Kingdom. They're not going to want to miss Star Wars at Hollywood Studios. They're absolutely getting on Guardians of the Galaxy and Epcot. And he's talking about the recent earnings report. He said, you saw the results. They were phenomenal for quarter 2. And Hugh Johnston talked about the forward bookings in quarter 3 and quarter 4 being very strong. So our strategy is working. Yeah.
Okay, I have some thoughts.
Okay.
This is almost a definition of gaslighting in some of this. When he says, if you go back 5 or 10 years and you think about what's happened at Walt Disney World, we've always been on the offensive. We're never on the defensive.
That is so wrong.
That is literally the polar opposite, because if you and they didn't quote it in this article, but he talks about the things that they've added to the park, and he specifically said Pandora, Galaxy's Edge, and all the things they've added. Those things were all added as a response to Universal and what they were doing. So Hogsmeade came along in 2010, then Pandora was announced after that, and even the way the lands are done, it wasn't, I mean, really, Wizarding Worlds kind of started the whole, like, heavily immersive IP-based lands.
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
They have been on the defensive, reacting to what Universal is doing. Now, it doesn't change the fact that they're still, like, Magic Kingdom is still the #1 theme park in the world. They still have the market share. Like, I'm not arguing that.
Right.
But they clearly, as a company, they kind of operate very reflexively. Like, they're not proactive. And I think that's just general of many companies that have large market shares. They're not going to necessarily be innovative because there's not a ton of motivation to do so. But for him to say that, like, you'll never find us in a defensive position, I'm like, that is insane.
That's I don't believe that.
It doesn't change some of those things. Like, Cosmic Rewind is a great ride.
Yeah.
But what's really, really interesting is what he says here is when he says, I can
almost guarantee you.
Well, when he says, I can almost guarantee you that a new tourist is coming into the market. So I think what they're counting on with Epic Universe coming in, because now they're kind of back to this, like, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Like, what's good for them is good for us.
Right.
Kind of thing.
And so their verbiage around Epic has been very, very interesting the past year, because they were saying all this stuff about a year ago, and then up in, like, the late last year, they started really being like, well, even Hugh Johnson said Epic Universe can have some impact on our attendance. Like, they changed their language, and then coming out of that quarter 2, I think they feel very good about themselves. I mean, rightfully so. But when they're talking about new tourists, I think and they've kind of indicated this before, that they're anticipating new people coming into the, like, to check out Epic are not people who have typically gone to theme parks, and they think that those people are also going to come to Disney. So they may not get the people, like the theme park people may all go, to Universal and check it out, and they may still come to Disney as well. But I think they're banking on a new group of people coming into the market, because I found that very interesting, because he also said too, like, they're going to, most of the people, he said it's been like 10 years, a lot of people haven't been back to the parks in that range, and they want to check out the new stuff. So they're kind of trying to position all these things as they have new things too, even if they're 10 years old, because these people haven't seen it yet, which isn't wrong, but at the same time, it's very, you're definitely, in my opinion, getting into the weeds a bit on some of that stuff.
Well, to be fair, like, I would never expect him to be like, well, we're really worried.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to say that.
And that's the first thing I was going to say. Like, he's not going to go on stage, even if they were. It's hard to really know how they actually feel.
Yeah.
Even if they were or are worried, they're not going to come out and say that, because then obviously the investors wouldn't like to hear that, the stock price and all that stuff. So they're going to operate from a position of strength. They're going to put on a strong face no matter what. But it's just interesting about some of the verbiage of how they're positioning it and things like that. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, Epic Universe opens in a week. So,
oh my gosh, yeah.
It's, and I think this summer is interesting in terms of, like, how does, typically summers have been lower lately, ever since, like, people kind of changed their travel patterns since COVID. So does Epic bring in a lot of people? Now, I read an article the other day that the local businesses around Epic Universe are really looking, they're expecting a big boon from that, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I suppose, I think Universal is going to see an increase in their attendance, undoubtedly. So they're looking forward to it. The real question is, how do the people that are coming in for that, do they also go to Disney? Like, how do they transition? Do they go over? And then if and how much of a hit does Disney take? And I think that's the thing that's very interesting, of just looking at this summer and the coming months on how this may go.
See, this is what's, like, interesting, and obviously it's all conjecture. It's all like, we don't really know what's going to happen, because this is such a brand new thing. Like, the last major theme park that opened in Orlando was Islands of Adventure in '99.
Yeah.
So literally it's been 26 years. So, and the landscape of all of this has completely changed. So we're all going, okay, it's going to influence, it's going to do this. And, like, we really don't know, but based on what we know about theme park people and just like the average guest, yeah, some will go to Epic and just be like, okay, I'm fine with that. Some people will go with just as Disney and be like, okay, I'm just Disney. But there's some people that will do both. And I feel like, given the opportunity to come to Epic or come to Universal, they may do that and be like, wow, that was really great. But also, people are strapped for cash.
Yeah.
So you also got to see, like, okay, if they come to Epic, are they going to want to spend the money to also go to Disney? Or are they going to be like, okay, we're just doing Universal because everything is so expensive right now? Because, so, like, you have that to think about as well. It's like, people may want to. They may want to do both, but may have to make a choice. And I think this summer, they're going to choose Epic if they have to make that choice.
Well,
they're going to choose Universal. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think they also, this is why they're running all the discounts they're running, for that reason right there, because
it's still expensive, though.
It still is. Now, Hugh Johnson did say year over year, Q3 bookings are up 4% and Q4 bookings are up 7%. So, but they didn't mention anything about the discounts that they're running to entice a lot of that. So if they are expecting this new group of people coming in, they're obviously trying to entice them with discounts to do it. I mean, again, we've talked about in many episodes about the sheer amount of discounts that they are running. So I'm not surprised going to the Q2 earnings that they're feeling good about themselves, but there's really no comparison to knowing, like, what to really expect. The only thing you can look at is when Hogsmeade opened, and this was a much different era for Universal and Disney. But at that time, it had a 35 to 40% increase in attendance for Universal that they maintained. That is the closest comparison that is out there. Moffat Nathanson, who this was the conference that put on, they had said that they expect Epic to take 1 million guests that otherwise would have gone to Disney. I don't know how they get those numbers, but that is what they said. So nobody knows. I do think they take somewhat of a hit. If you look at year over year, how big of a hit is that? I don't know. But if they come out this summer and this year really not taking too much of a hit, that's a really good scenario for them. But I do think undoubtedly Universal is going to continue eating a market share because their attendance is going to go up. So it's just really, how is Disney going to fare? And, we'll find out very soon. The next earnings or the quarterly earnings reports are going to be very interesting from both companies to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's really exciting time, to be honest. Like,
I know
yeah, we talk about Epic Universe a lot just because we cover both Universal and Disney, and a brand new park. Yeah, we're going to focus a lot about it. But it's just really interesting to see the position both these companies are in and to see how they are reacting to each other, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're just spectators over here.
Well, and that's the thing.
Just
it's like
spectating on all that's going on.
I think undoubtedly you're just seeing the beginnings of the theme park wars just heating up even more
and we get to reap the benefits.
Well, it's true. And this is why I like competition.
Yeah.
So if you like all the lands Disney has built in the past 10 years, like you can thank Universal for coming in and doing like that forced them to change it. Like we would have there's still stuff that would have got built at Disney undoubtedly. It wouldn't have been these lands, and I don't think it would have been the massive projects that they were. Mm-hmm. I think it would have, and they would have had a much slower, build time because you look at like Fantasyland that took like 7 years to get done.
Not that long.
Okay,
not that long.
I think it was longer than 5. Anyway, it was a long time to build
like
to redo
years,
that.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where how's this fair? And like, I love competition, so I like watching this. And I'm hearing some pretty heavy rumors that Universal may announce new things even coming to Epic right around when it opens. So I don't think Universal is going to slow down anytime soon. So, and I think this is what goes into like them going into Abu Dhabi is because the Orlando market is forever going to be different. Universal is just going to continue to be more competition there. So they're going to have to really, obviously put a lot of resources, money into keep adding things to their parks also at Disney. So they're going to look for opportunities elsewhere to break into other markets to make more money.
Yeah.
And, but I think the Orlando market is different and it's just going to continue to get more competitive. And I think the next year, like this summer, next summer, like how does this look? Especially after like new theme park opens, some people wait to go because just wait till they work the kinks out. How's it look toward the fall, the winter, the spring, all that stuff. I will be very interested to see how that fares. But
yes,
Josh Jamar have some interesting words.
He did.
And I think he may be the front runner for CEO.
I agree.
Which I don't like.
It just seems like it looks like he's just at the forefront of like so much stuff going on, and maybe it's just because it's all talking about this like park stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there because they're going to name that sometime next year.
Yeah.
So we will see. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'll be very interested to see how this goes and what the wait times, how they look in the months after Epic opens. People are going to be watching that like crazy. Yeah. So I find it fun. I love competition.
Yes.
So yeah.
Me too.
But all right, well that's all the news that we have.
Okay.
So let's move on to some things going on this summer. If you're looking to take advantage of some of the discounts and, like I said, hotel rooms under $100, some of the cases that you can take advantage of this summer. So the number one thing that you can check out, like we just said, hotels and tickets are basically all on sale.
Yeah. Number one is going to be the discounts. So I'm not going to name all of them, but I will name some of them. 50% off kids tickets, 3-day free park special ticket offer, 4-day Florida resident ticket, 30 to 40% off hotels or packages, depending on if you are a Florida resident, AP, staying for a certain amount of days, Disney Plus subscriber. There's so many deals to choose from. Like, I think if you book a rack rate and don't get anything out of it, then it's silly because you don't have to do that. There's so much that's offered if it, obviously if it's not sold out. So if you're wanting to go to Disney and you're like, I don't know, like it's so expensive, blah, 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 take advantage of this summer with all these discounts going on.
Well, you got to think too, when you stay on property, I mean, you do get the free water park access too.
That's one of the ones I put.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can work that in.
And both water parks are open this summer. Blizzard Beach opens on Wednesday. So you'll have both Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon to look forward to on your check-in day.
Yeah. I mean, that right there, if you got a cheap hotel, essentially, you get a hotel for $99, get a water park entrance. I mean, that is a actually good deal.
I think it's, is it July? Yeah, it's July where they're running that deal where you can stay at All-Star Sports or All-Star Music or whatever for like $100 a night and essentially go to Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon on your check-in day. And then, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can just spend $100 and have the best time.
Yeah, if you're a Disney Plus subscriber.
If you're
you
Disney
get
Plus,
that deal.
yes,
Yeah.
correct.
All right, next one we have is AP perks that are going on, which is quite a bit, and top discounts as well. So you got lounge, you got the magnets, dining and merch discounts going on.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch going on for APs.
40% off dining at select restaurants is something I haven't seen before.
Yes, 40% off at select restaurants. It depends on like what month you're going, but most of the discounts started, I think today actually, March 14th, all the way to July 31st. So good summer for APs, including those discounts on hotels.
Which also is another indication, like when their attendance isn't looking great, sometimes they definitely lean on APs, which is yet another indication of that as well. But you have a lot of stuff going on for APs. You also have after-hour events going on too.
Yep. So you got Typhoon Lagoon, the Glow. What's it called? I forgot again.
Glow Nights?
Glow Nights. Thank you.
The Glow.
I almost said Afterglow, but it's not an Afterglow.
They should have called it Afterglow.
I know, right?
Missed opportunity.
I know. I call it Afterglow sometimes. I'm like, that's not what it's
Come
called.
to the Afterglow.
But the Glow Nights, that's going on this summer. And then Hollywood Studios and Epcot still have availability for after-hours events there. So those are really good times to go and enjoy the parks when it's not hot at night. And at night, they're beautiful. So
it's very true.
I like that.
Nighttime in the summer is, if you're going to go in the summer, I avoid the midday as much as I can. That's just, it's a brutal time. But nighttime's not bad. They also have, like we said, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party starting mid-August. No discounts on that, but that party is starting. So
well, there's discounts if you're an AP or DVC.
You do get $10 off.
Yes.
I mean,
it's slight, but it is something.
True. It's better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's also things going on for kids, what they're calling the Cool Kids Summer.
That's right. Cool Kids Summer. And we talked about this last week and the week before, but it's basically extra activities going on in the parks and resorts, but mostly it's characters and DJ dance parties.
Which
it's a lot of that.
Now, obviously, these things they took from the Halloween and Christmas parties.
Yeah.
If families are looking to, like, as a thing to go to these parties because they have these dance parties, I'm wondering if having this as a daily basis just in the parks that dictates how much people are willing to get Halloween party tickets. Because essentially they're going on all the time now, so it's not really a party exclusive thing.
Right, but I don't think people buy Mickey's Not So Scary tickets for the dance parties.
I don't either.
So I think it's just a filler.
Which also, people I don't typically think book just for the dance parties for kids either.
Absolutely.
It's just one of those things where I think a dance party type thing should just be something that's happening all the time in the parks.
Absolutely, Jared.
So
let's constantly dance. Let's just walk around the parks dancing. Boombox. Those scary boombox on your shoulder. And we'll just dance.
Break dancing. Although I will say, dancing in the midday at the summer does not sound
sweaty.
That does not sound appealing to me.
Yep.
But all right, next one we have is new attractions that are opening. I say attractions. They're shows. You've got the Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, and the Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After show. And then at some point we have the Disney Starlight Parade.
So the two shows, Little Mermaid and the Unfairly Ever After show, opening May 27th. Disney Starlight Parade, still unknown, but the rumors point to early to mid-July somewhere.
That's what I've heard as well.
So definitely in the summer, but just we're not sure where. Not sure when. GO82 Lounge is opening in Epcot, which we have discussed at length. And we won't talk about that anymore today, but that's opening behind Spaceship Earth. And we've got the menu. Reservations are open. And so that is opening in June.
Yes.
So.
Like I mentioned before as well, there's also the Destination D23 event in August. If people want to go to that, that is going on.
That's going to be huge. Like, it's huge. It's going to be really busy that weekend.
More than likely, that is very true.
Yeah, they're bringing a lot of people. And it's at Coronado Springs, which is interesting. I don't know if they've ever had something this big at Coronado for that Disney puts on. Like,
I don't recall it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Usually it's at, like, Contemporary or something.
Usually, yeah, I think it has been in the past. And then I suppose something, and then like we were talking about before, unknown of this, but you potentially could have lower crowds this summer. If,
depends.
With Epic Universe, it's a potential thing that could happen.
Yeah.
You could have some lower crowds happening Just in general, like the summer hasn't been real busy the last couple of years anyways.
Yeah.
And part of the discounts they're running, I do think are partly due to Epic Universe and also partly due to the lagging summer attendance over the last few years.
Yeah.
And I think that may be something that's worried them. So that potentially could be, though, something that's a benefit if you are going, is you might see some lower crowds. I'm not saying it will happen for sure, but it's a possibility of just looking at the potentialities of it.
Here's my recommendation for a weekend or a week to choose to go to Disney. Go the week of 4th of July.
It's actually very low crowds then.
The last 2 or 3 years, like the crowds have been low. And I don't think it's just the people avoiding the holiday. I think it's because Pixie Dust and Pixie Dust Pass and the Pirates Pass for APs are blocked out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge contribution to how many people actually go with those passes, because they are blocked out, I think starting in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th or something like that, like 4 days around that holiday. So anytime you can go during an AP blockout that's not during Christmas is a good idea.
I mean,
because they traditionally, like, usually supposed to be busier, but they're not.
Well, and a lot of those ticket deals don't have any blackout dates.
Right.
So even if the APs are blacked out for a holiday, you could still get advantage of the lower tickets to do it. So,
and if you go this summer and you're like, I'm going to take advantage of all these discounts, I'm going to do lots of stuff, I would still encourage you guys to, whoever's going, just wake up early, do stuff for the first couple hours during the day, and chill in the middle of the day. Like, don't do the parks open to close in the middle of July. Like, if you want to have a good like experience, this is just my opinion, obviously, but if you want to have a good experience and you have like small kids or you have like older adults with you, like doing those long park days with that heat, I just don't recommend. Go early. Go at like 7:38 in the morning. Stay till noon and then leave for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then come back.
No, I
when
agree.
it's
That's
slower.
what we do. I mean,
Like, just do
also
that.
along those lines, drink water.
Drink so
If you're
much
gonna
water.
I think a lot of people, like, it's brutal in the summers and when you're midday.
We were talking about Epic Universe and meeting Toothless. I forgot to tell you this. There was a family in front of me, and the mom, she probably looked like she was like in her 70s, and you could tell she was like struggling. Like, she was hot, she was sweaty. She sat down on the ground at one point.
Yeah.
And she left the line like twice just to go sit down and get some water and air, like AC.
And that was like first thing in the morning.
This first thing in the morning. So I'm like, okay, like this is no joke, people. Like,
well, I tell people all the time, if you're gonna go and, like, let's say you don't typically, walk a lot, you don't do a lot of physical activity, like,
or out in the heat,
right? Like walking, getting used to that, because if you go from nothing, all of a sudden you're gonna walk a ton in a theme park. It's really easy for heat exhaustion to kick in, especially if you're not, like, if you don't know the warning signs, you can blow right through them, and all of a sudden you can just find yourself. And the last thing you want on a vacation is, medical services called because you're overheated. So
yeah,
I always say that the tip I always tell people is to drink a bunch of water like first thing in the morning when you wake up. As much as you may not want to, it at least gives you a little bit of, it helps you, give you almost like I guess you would just call like a bank up, like you're banking the water a little bit.
a reserve.
Yeah, because people just, when you're going and doing things, sometimes you forget to drink water. And we've seen people just flat out fall over in theme parks.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen people pass out and, like, I saw a woman, remember that one time at Disney Springs, like, just hit her head, like, just out of nowhere. So it's definitely something to think about. So, but yeah,
so
I guess
it might be lower crowds, it might not be. I don't know.
that part we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, those are the things going on this summer that are kind of exclusive this summer that you can go check out, along with the ticket deals and things like that.
And reasons that you might want to go too.
Yes. And if you do want to go, if you need help with that, be sure to contact Zip Travel. Go to vacationwithzip.com and they will take care of you. Either Lauren or Kendall, who's part of the CTM team there, will take care of you there. So
those good gals.
They are good gals. They make it a lot easier to do stuff.
They were just at Disney too, and Universal.
Yeah. They're kind of all over the place.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. So be sure to check that out, vacationwithzip.com. But either way, I think that's going to do it for the show. I think we've got everything covered that we wanted to talk about. Be sure to follow us on social media at Captain Magic everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And over on YouTube at Captain Magic, you can find the daily videos I do over there covering theme parks and pop culture. over 12,000 subs over there. So it's going very well. So go join there. And then, of course, video versions of the show at CTM Podcast on YouTube. You can check out over there. And then we have some other shows on the network, like the CTM Universal show. And obviously over there, we're talking a lot about Epic Universe as we're going to be their opening day. So if you want to know about how that goes on opening day, be sure to, we'll have a review of that on coming up next Monday. And you can find that. We're going to start doing that as a weekly show as well. And subscribe over there if you want to know the latest goings on with Universal Studios and Epic Universe over there. And then Jamie has her trip report show.
I do, my Trip Tales show. I will not have an episode this month. Too much going on, and we're just going to move it to June. So if you want to be a guest on a future Trip Tales episode where you get to talk about the trip that you took and give details about that, you can go to ctmtriptales.com, fill out the information about your trip, and if I'm interested in talking to you on the show, I will contact you. And so I'm looking for trips taking in July, August, September, July and August for sure, and then beyond that. But the July and August are the ones I need now. So,
all right, we'll go check that out.
Okay.
And of course, if you're looking for some great theme park apparel, check out Capture the Magic Apparel. That's our own clothing company where everything is printed by us, by hand, no third-party printers. And we have some new designs in the shop. We got some Epic Universe designs. We're always adding some things in there. So you can go to ctmapparelco.com. And we also have the most comfortable shirts you'll find. Very comfortable shirts. We can do next level, comfort colors, hoodies, sweatshirts, whatever you want. Very comfortable. Prints last a very, very long time and give you some great shirts to wear to the parks or just around the house or wherever else you want to wear them. So you can go to ctmapparelco.com and use the promo code. What's the promo code, Jamie?
It's going to be May.
There you go. That was Jamie's promo code. And you can get actually this month 25% off using that promo code. Yay. And then you get free shipping on orders over $50. So you can save a lot of money that way and get some great shirts and check all that out. So again, ctmapparelco.com and use the promo code It's Gonna Be May and get 25% off of your order. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.